Okay.
Well, now, I know you're a political fella, but you have no
so.
dog in the hunt in this race. But you don't know, so you just know what you hear.
What?
Like endorsements. You'll listen to endorsements. It'll all become
It's so
clear.
complicated, this. Hillary has the support of the Orlando terrorist
Hillary has the
dad.
support of the Orlando terrorist dad has come out in favor of Hillary.
Trump has the support of white
White
supremacist groups.
supremacists, David Duke comes out in favor.
I
of
can't
Trump.
decide who I like best until the Zika virus weighs in.
What?
All these bad people are endorsing both.
A lot of Zika virus jokes. It's very much clearly a hot potato topic on Norm's writing stuff.
I don't know what that means. No, don't read it. Don't read it. Don't read it. It's there the whole time. Man.
Playboy magazine has done away with the nude photo layouts altogether. In other words, they've eliminated ladies in the altogether altogether.
Oh man!
That's a sort of radio DJ joke, I feel.
The way you,
You know
the
what I
way
mean?
you,
We have to
your
deliver
voice,
with
yeah,
that,
yeah,
right?
delivered it.
In other words,
amazing.
they've eliminated ladies in the altogether altogether. Here's Taylor Swift.
Hey, by the way, I've noticed the term adult toy always refers to something you can shove up your asshole and never like a big race car, like for a grown-up.
Another good observation.
Yeah, they're I could sell that to
Can we rip all these from
When
Steve
I
Allen's?
die, I want to be cremated, and my ashes spread eagle and fucked hard, like a fucking real tramp. Wow, come on, man. Why did they make me say that?
Wow.
Jesus Christ. You see, somebody writes that. It's not me. It's just some fucker over there in the next room.
Yeah.
And then I say it like a goddamn robot. And then people think I thought of it. But I'm clearly, I can't even type.
Yeah.
You ever read a book? Oh, you read that communist thing?
Yeah, I read the Marxist Manifesto.
Who was the better man?
Okay.
Dr. Martin Luther King? Stalin.
Finally, these are the big questions. Well, I don't want to jump to any conclusions. Again, I don't want to be sued by the estates of either. But I'm going to go for MLK.
You know history.
I know a little history.
And I know you're very good friends with David Irving, the author, who he reads constantly.
Yeah, I'm not friends with David Irving.
Do you know that he, though, is a revisionist?
Oh, you're a revisionist?
Well, he's a denier, Holocaust denier. But he's never read David Irving because he said he's too smart. And I tell him, well, David Irving would be your biggest ally, you know what I mean, instead of these morons. You knew David Irving instantly when I said it, as if you're his best friend. But you've studied Irving?
I've not studied Irving, no. But I'm aware of who he is.
Yeah. What do you think about guys like this, though?
This guy?
Yeah.
He seems like
comes
an
around.
alright
This is his little joke against the poor masses that came out of a chimney.
Being from Manchester, this has nothing to do with the Holocaust.
I didn't bring up the Holocaust.
You did.
I love the fact you sort of gleefully said, I didn't bring up the Holocaust. I normally do by mistake, but today, didn't even bring it up.
I'm saying Stalin was just as bad.
That's what he always says.
Stalin was bad.
Yeah,
But if you're talking about Hitler, why is your first thing Stalin was just as bad?
It's not my first thing.
First,
Not the
he
first thing.
wasn't just as bad. But anyways, even if he was.
Well, we'd have to define what badness is and levels of badness.
Are you kidding me? we have to define that.
Yeah.
That's what you two are saying. Well, you found your soulmate. I say Hitler's bad. I don't think you have to try to define what bad is, or you don't have to go through any of these epistemological fucking gymnastics to know that Hitler was bad. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I said it before it was cool to say it. But anyways, listen, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I say 6 million, he says 600. You say probably a number in between there somewhere. But if David Irving ever wants to do the show, he's welcome.
Good luck to him.
I
look forward to him reading some of these gags. That's going to be
Irving?
It's going to be dynamite, that bit.
So listen, guys, this has been fun, hasn't it?
This has been probably my
It's just been
favorite.
good. It saves me a trip to my senile uncle. So that's.
I lived down the hall from a woman who had Alzheimer's, and her son just stopped visiting her, and she took the notion that I was her son. This was when I was a young man. She took this notion that I was her son, and she had a bleak apartment. No, it was empty usually, and so what I started doing, I would get pictures from the store. You know, they came in the, you know, the picture would come in the frame, and I would put the picture down, and then that would spark something. That woman go, that must be my son. You see what I mean? And I would just put things all over, and I put a ring one time on her finger.
Now,
So
was
she
this
thought-
supposed
she
to
thought
help
would
her,
be-
or you were just playing with her? You were just screwing with her? Okay.
Both. It was to help her and to entertain myself. And in a way, when you think about it, isn't that what we all do in life?
That's a lovely upbeat message to end on. You know, if you need kicks, find a person with Alzheimer's and fuck with them. For her amusement and yours. It's a lovely message to go out on.
Yeah, we can't go out on that.
I think so.
Why don't you ask one of your questions that you had? One of your questions.
No, because that puts undue pressure on me to end this with something upbeat and positive. You see? Whereas I feel like very much is your responsibility as the
Yeah, I
host.
thought that was great. Another missed opportunity.
Well, I can tell a joke.
Go for it.
Yeah,
This is it.
please
This
do.
is what we're looking
Please.
for.
Yeah.
There was a little boy in school named Dirty Johnny. Now, he's not dirty in this joke, but he'd always be a hellion in class, and the teacher didn't think much of him. So the teacher has a project, or not a project, but an in-class thing. How'd that go again? She says, now, this is what you're going to do here, class. I want you to stand up. I want you to stand up and tell the class what a story from your life. And then afterwards say the moral to that story. So a girl puts up her hand. Yes, Becky, what's your story? So Becky stands up. She goes, my dad works for the hatchery here in town. And what happens was he got about 15 eggs. And he put them all in one basket, all in the same basket. So he put all his eggs in one basket. And he put it on the horse and buggy and drove back home. And by God, Becky says, the bouncing and all the eggs broke. Well, that's a good story, the teacher says, but what would the moral be to that? Becky says, well, the moral is, don't put all your eggs into one basket. But goddamn, says the teacher, that's a good one. Anybody else? Marjorie puts up her hand. Marjorie, what's your story? She says, well, my dad worked for the hatchery, as all of us. Thank God for the hatchery. She says, or we'd all be lost. But anyways, my dad knows that eggs become chickens. And so he was counting his chickens, and he added in the eggs, you see. And then he put them on a horse and buggy to go to town, and they all broke. Well, what's the lesson to that? The teacher says she can't understand. And she says, well, don't count your chickens before they hatch out of an egg. So the teacher says, that's a great one, too. Anybody else? Well, wouldn't you know, Dirty Johnny has his hand up. So the teacher's like, holy God, I don't want it. But on the other hand, I made an oath to every child, should I suppose I gotta. All right, Dirty Johnny, what do you have to say? Johnny stands up. Stories about my Uncle Terry. He never worked at the hatchery. On account he was in Vietnam. And he got disability. He don't even like people who work at the hatchery. But the story happened far from these shores, in a little town called Da Nang. Terry was not well liked. His whole troop left him, abandoned. And he woke up in the weeds, and all they left him with was 3 bottles of Jack Daniels, some weapons. Terry stood up and downed 1 bottle right away. Said, if I'm going out, I'm going out. He took his Balishnikov and a couple of Glocks and his 2 bottles, and away he went. He found a town. And he didn't know if it was Charlie or if it was one he was sent to protect. But all he knew was he had hate in his gut. So he started firing. And he fired the Kalashnikov with an arcing kind of, like a farmer would with hay, with a scythe. And sure enough, the men fell like hay before him. And then the women, and by God, I'm ashamed to say it, but then the children. And finally, all was left was Uncle Terry standing in the mud and the blood and the glory. And he touched his pants, and it was wet, and he said he was ashamed. He felt shame, Uncle Terry, for he'd pissed himself. Well, he touched it again. It was not urine at all, but ejaculate. And Uncle Terry felt pride where shame once was. And the teacher's like, good Christ, what kind of a story is that? What the hell is the moral to that? Oh, well, he says, when Uncle Terry's been drinking, you don't fuck with him. Now, especially if you work at the hatchery. Now, listen, it's been great to have you. I didn't want to end on such a long joke, but I realized once I was in, I couldn't get out.
Yeah.
But it's been wonderful to see you.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll look for you. This is
Adam Egan.
Adam Egan,
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
the great man.
Subscribe to Nom Burger King.